Hey everyone, my name is Danny. Today we're going to be doing a standing strengthening and stretching flow. It's going to be a short one if you're short on time today. A great way to just get the body moving and get you out the door. We're going to begin with the hammock at hip height. Mine's a little bit higher than normal today. I just like a little bit more support in the warrior variations. So if you want to put your hammock slightly higher today, that is a great option. If you want to just keep it at normal hip height, that's okay too. All right, let's get started. So feet underneath the rigging point, hip distance apart, hands shoulder distance apart in the hammock, and just rolling down through the spine, hinging at the hips, sending the arms out in front of you, sending the tailbone up behind you. Tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin, rolling up one vertebrae at a time, warming up the spine. Sending it back out. Arms reaching towards the front of the room, hip bones reaching to the back, chest opens, head looks up. Tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin, slowly rolling up. Let's roll through a couple more of those just to get the spine warmed up and the hamstrings energized. Tucking the tail, rolling all the way up. And one more. On this last one, if you want to stay down and take a little bit of a side bend to the right. Bring the fabric back into the center. A little bit of a bend to the left. Back into the center. And rolling it up. We're going to go into a warrior variation here. So let's bring the left foot more in towards the middle of the mat. Taking the weight out of the right foot, release the right foot from the floor. Send the right leg back, pressing the arms forward, and keeping that right hip dropped. Finding some stability here. Lengthening through the leg, lengthening through the arms. Nice and active in the core. Tuck the chin, knee to nose. And send it back out. Tuck the chin, bring the knee in. Nice and tight in the core. Send it back out. Finding lots of length here. Core is on and engaged. One last curl. Release the knee. Roll it on up. Same thing, other side. So bringing the right foot in towards the middle of the mat. Releasing the weight from the left foot. Left foot comes up and in. And start to send it back. Tuck the chin, curling through the spine, nice and tight in the core, knee to nose. Releasing it back out, finding length. This is a really nice test of balance here as well, curling it back in. A little bit of an ab workout. One last curl. Release the foot. Give the feet a little shake out, legs a little shake. Sprig the fabric behind our back. We're going to go into a bit of a lunge series here. Bringing the left foot in front of us, right foot's going to come behind. pressing into the hammock. So you don't want to sink all of your weight into the hammock. This still is an active pose. Pressing our hands in, opening the chest, looking up to the ceiling. Really nice stretch in that right hip flexor. Send the breath to wherever it needs to go. Option to take a little bit of a twist here. Nice and tight in the midline. Henry's over there having a bit of a play. Had to give him his own silk today to stay off camera. Bringing it back into the center. Option to twist other direction. Bringing it back to the center. We're going to come into our warrior two here. So pivoting on our back foot, lining it up with our front foot. So our back foot should just be right in the middle of our front heel. Pressing the weight into the front leg. Arms are straight. Pelvis is tucked, abs are tight, and we're looking down that right hand, warrior two. So this position is nice and active. We don't want to be sinking into our hammock. Our hammock is not doing all the work. It's simply there to support us. If it's a little bit higher, you're going to get a little bit more support. Make sure we're also rooting down through this back foot. Core is on. Option to lean down, drop the left arm on the inside of the left thigh, bring the right arm up onto the pole. Moving into our triangle from here, option to straighten the leg, look up to the right hand. If you have hyperextension in your knees, keep a little bit of a bend in the knees there. Breathing into the hamstring, nice and open on the right shoulder. One last inhale. On the exhale, windmill the arms back up. Watch out for your ponytail if you have one on. We're going to use the inner thighs to turn the feet, both facing forward. Option to heel toe the feet in a little bit so the stance is a little bit narrower. Bringing the hands up overhead, letting the silk come off under your armpits, slide in the hands down, internally rotating the shoulders for a forward fold with the feet wide. Hinging at the hips, abs are still on. Nice big opener in the chest. Let the head hang heavy. Stretch out the back of the neck. Let's take one last inhale here. Bring a soft bend into the knees. Exhale, roll it up. Hands are going to slide back up. Silk comes back under the armpits. We're going to pivot on the feet. So on the ball of one foot, on the heel of the other, and we're taking that lunge out to the other side. Pressing the hands into the poles, feet are rooting down through the ground. Looking up for a nice open in the chest. Left hamstring is feeling a nice stretch. Breathe into that hip flexor. Option to take a little bit of a twist here. So looking over to the left shoulder. Everything is active, nice and tight in the core again. One more big inhale here. Exhale, twist back to the front. Readjust your feet if you need to. I'm getting like a cramp in my foot. One more inhale here. Exhale, rotating over to the right. Using your hammock for support, but staying nice and active in the legs. Inhale here. Exhale, twist back to the front. Turning on the ball of the left foot now, lining up our feet for our warrior two. Maybe you need to take your stance a little bit wider. Sinking into the front leg, arms come up. Nice and active in the arms, looking down that right hand through the middle finger. Pressing down through the outside of the foot on the back foot. And again, tucked in the pelvis, tight in the core. Hammock is just there to help you. It's not taking all of the weight for you. You need to do some of the work yourself in this one. Option to drop the right arm on the inside of the right knee. Keep that knee bent. Left arm is up on the pole if you need it. Can also be free. Your choice. Don't forget to breathe. Zipping up through the inner thighs, extending the front leg, rotating up to look at our left hand, triangle. Whenever you're ready, windmilling the arms back into our warrior two. Bringing the hands back onto the fabric, turning both toes to the front of the room, bringing the feet in a little bit if needed be, sliding the hands up and over, release the fabric off the back, internal rotation of the shoulders. If you want to get a little bit deeper in this, sliding the hands down a little bit further, but just go to where it feels good for you. Nice big belly breaths here. Let's take one last big inhale at the bottom. Soften the knees, roll it on up. Sliding the hands up and overhead this time. And bringing the fabric in front of us, sliding our hands down in the wrist lock, and then releasing both of the hands. If you'd like to join me for an inversion, we're going to be moving into our Lotus position. If you've done Lotus before, you can go ahead and get started. If Lotus is new to you, maybe just watch this section first. The exit can be challenging for some people. It's a lot of work on the shoulders, so knowing how to come out and where your comfort level is really important. So if you're not sure, watch this section, hit pause or rewind, and you can go back and we can do it together. So for our Lotus inversion, releasing the left leg from the mat, bringing it up and in towards the middle of the hammock. Sliding the hands up the hammock, we're going to start to turn that left knee out. The other foot is going to meet this foot, and the soles of the feet will meet together. So a little bit of a big pull in the arms here to release the right leg from the ground. We're going to pull the right foot up and in, and the feet are going to meet. So you might have a little bit of a sway here. That's totally fine. You can just wait for it to calm down a little bit if it feels like too much for you, or if there's somebody else in the room that can stop you from swinging, you can have them come and steady you. I like to bring my left arm through first. So my left shoulder is in front of the pole and my right shoulder is behind. From here, I can bring my hands to prayer position and settle into the pose. If you'd prefer, you can release your hands to your knees and press open in the position to get a little bit more open in the hips. I find this is a really good hip opener regardless, and I don't feel like I need to press into my knees to get my hips any more open. You might feel like the bind on the bottom of your feet is quite tight. It is. So just be aware of that and how long you want to sit with that when we're in our upside down inversion. Knowing when to come out before you feel like you really need to come out. Okay, so our transition into our Lotus, bringing the right hand forward, and we're gonna lean into our fabric, thumbs pointing down, our hands are grabbing on by our ribs. From here, we're just slowly going to start to release our head towards the ground, sliding our hands down as far as they come. If that feels good, you can release the hands. They can come onto the knees, they can come into prayer position, or they can reach down towards the mat. You can also steady yourself in this position here if you were swinging a little bit and you want to slow yourself down. This is a really great position for decompressing the spine and creating some space between the vertebrae and lubricating the spine, rejuvenating the spinal fluid. You can also welcome to have your hands behind your back or just resting on your legs. I usually like to stay in the inverted position for approximately 1 minute. If that feels too long for you, please come out at any time that you need to. This is really great if you have any lower back issues. Opening up the hips, correcting any bad posture, and just letting the blood flow to the head. Inversions are really good for us, really good for our circulatory system, our lymph system. And depending on the day, it might feel different. One day you might be able to be upside down for several minutes and feel great, and other days you go upside down and almost need to come out immediately. So many factors affect this. How much water you've drank, how much you've eaten, if you're tired, you've done a lot of exercise that day.
So just knowing that every day is different and knowing when to come out. If your hands can reach the floor, you're welcome to give yourself a little bit of a twist. If you've still got your hands on the poles, that's fine too. Just keep them there. Whenever you're feeling ready to come out of your inversion, I'm going to walk you out of it nice and slowly. Slow is key. If you start to feel a little bit dizzy when you're coming out, just take every step really slowly. We're going to go immediately into our second stage position, which is our recovery position after our inversion. So if you've been swaying, slow yourself down, release your hands from the ground. Hands are going to come up, thumbs facing down, and you're slowly walking your hands back up your poles. When you get to this position, I like to just take a second before I transition to the next position. Get your sense of equilibrium back. The right hand's going to come onto the pole, the left shoulder still stays forward. Bring the right elbow to the back of the pole. Look up to your poles, bring your left hand onto your pole, left shoulder's going to come back. Straighten your legs out in front of you, release one leg at a time back down to the earth. Other foot can come off. Let's get that backpack on, walking to the front of our mat, or wherever feels good with the height of your hammock. Releasing forward all of the weight into the fabric, releasing the hands, releasing the head. Feeling that blood flow return to the feet and maybe behind the backs of the knees. You might feel the blood rushing into your fingertips. This is our recovery position, so at any time if you do need to come to this position earlier in the inversion, if you're watching this for the second time, please do so. Or in general, if things don't feel good in the hammock, you're always welcome to come to our second stage position. Let's slowly roll it up. One vertebrae at a time. Head is the last to come up. We're going to finish today in a seated child's pose. So fan your fabric out. Grab a few handfuls behind you. If your hammock is extremely high like mine, you're going to have to come up onto your tippy toes and press into the hammock. Bring the arms all the way through. Open it up to behind your knees. I like to tuck one shoulder at a time in. Get nice and comfortable here. And then nose falls towards the knees for our final relaxing pose. This is also a great recovery position that you can come to at any time if you need to. Nice deep breaths into the back of the rib cage. Slowly sinking deeper into the hammock. Those arms and hands are getting a rest in the back there. You're welcome to hang out in this position for as long as you need. When you're ready to come out, both hands grabbing the poles, sliding out of the hammock. Thanks so much for joining me today. Namaste.